So, picture this. It's 2025, you've saved up, booked your flights, ready for that dream trip. But then, the news hits. 10 major Western nations are suddenly talking about mass deportations. You might think, what does that have to do with my vacation? Well, it might have everything to do with it. These aren't just small policy tweaks. When countries redraw the lines of who gets to be inside their borders, it creates a ripple effect. Suddenly the visa you thought was a sure thing might be under review. The friendly border agent you expected might have a much longer list of questions. This video breaks down what these shifts could mean for you, the global traveler. We're going to look at how your plans to study, work, or explore could be turned upside down. Our goal here is to inform, make you think, and maybe even start a conversation. Because when the world changes this drastically, the one thing we can't afford to be is unprepared. So let's get into it. What exactly is happening, and how is it going to change the way we see the world? Let's start with the big one, the United States. America, the land of the free, the home of Hollywood. But what happens when that dream starts requiring a lot more paperwork? New deportation policies aren't just about sending people home, they're about changing who they let in. For travelers, this could mean a complete overhaul of the visa process. That ESTA you used to get online in 20 minutes? It might involve an in-person interview, increased scrutiny at every level, your social media checked, your travel history questioned, your financial stability under a microscope. It's like going on a first date where the other person starts by asking for a detailed 5-year plan of your exit strategy. Imagine planning a family trip to Disney World, only to have one family member's visa denied. The Welcome to America sign might still be there, but the feeling behind it could be very different. Once you land, you might find yourself in longer lines at immigration, facing more intense questioning. The American dream might not be dead, but it's definitely behind a new, much higher paywall of bureaucracy. Next up, the United Kingdom. With Brexit already having redrawn the lines with Europe, new calls for mass deportation are set to make things even more interesting for travelers. The UK border force is already known for being thorough, but now expect them to be downright forensic. Prepare for the possibility of your luggage being searched more intensely, your electronic devices inspected. The famous British stiff upper lip might now be accompanied by a very suspicious side-eye. For travelers, the days of breezing through Heathrow with just a passport and a smile might be over. You'll need to have your story straight and your documents in order. Any hesitation could lead to a one-on-one chat in a small, windowless room. The Eurostar, the train that connects London to Paris and Brussels, could become a lot more fragmented. Imagine longer queues, more checks, and a general atmosphere of friction where there was once fluidity. The country might be rolling up its welcome mat, or at least checking very carefully who gets to wipe their feet on it. Ah, Germany, the land of precision engineering, Oktoberfest, and rules. If any country is going to implement new regulations with ruthless efficiency, it's Germany. For tourists, the biggest change might come in the form of pre-travel requirements. Germany has been a cornerstone of the Schengen area, allowing for easy travel across much of Europe. But with a renewed focus on national security, they might start demanding more information before you even book your flight. Business travelers could also face new hurdles. Spontaneous trip for a meeting in Frankfurt? That might become a thing of the past. The German love for Ordnung order will likely mean that every I must be dotted and every T crossed. This isn't just about making things difficult, it's about risk management. So what's the takeaway for anyone planning a trip to Germany? Precision, precision, precision. France. The name itself evokes images of art, romance, philosophy, and food. A huge part of this experience comes from international students and cultural exchange programs. But what happens when the nation of liberté, égalité, fraternité starts to become more selective? The impact of mass deportation policies on France could be most deeply felt in its universities and cultural institutions. Stricter visa regulations could make it significantly harder for these students to get in. Imagine you're a young artist dreaming of studying at the Sorbonne. Suddenly the visa process requires you to prove an almost impossible amount of financial security. This could lead to a brain drain in reverse, where talented individuals are turned away. The soul of Paris, and indeed all of France, is its cosmopolitan nature. A France that is less welcoming could, over time, become a less vibrant version of itself. Oh, Canada, the country that's famous for being nice. A shift towards mass deportation policies would be particularly jarring. For travelers, the first sign of change would likely be at the point of entry. Canadian border guards are known for their politeness, but that politeness can be deceivingly firm. With new mandates, the questions could get a lot more pointed. This could also lead to changes in Canada's travel advisories and entry requirements. The impact would be felt not just by tourists, but by the huge number of people who travel to Canada for temporary work or to visit family. Canada has a massive diaspora community, and travel to see relatives is a vital link. So, while Canada might still be the land of maple syrup and stunning national parks, getting there could become a less sweet experience. The country known for its open arms might start holding people at arm's length. Let's head down under to Australia. If a country that's already an expert at controlling its borders decides to double down, the impact on travelers will be significant. The no worries vibe could quickly turn into all the worries. Australia's tourism industry is a massive part of its economy. However, stricter visa application processes could deter potential tourists. The perception of Australia as a fun, easygoing destination could take a serious hit. Then there's the iconic working holiday visa. Stricter immigration policies could put this entire program at risk. The geographical isolation of Australia has always made air travel the primary way in and out. Australia might find itself with more secure borders but with fewer people wanting to cross them. Italy, the sweet life. It's a country that runs on passion, history, and carbs. But what happens when bureaucracy clashes with the romance of an Italian holiday? For many travelers, a trip to Italy is about connecting with their roots. Stricter visa requirements or increased scrutiny at the border could throw a wrench into these deeply personal journeys. Leisure travel, the backbone of Italian tourism, would also feel the chill. Italy's charm is in its chaos, its spontaneity. But a climate of suspicion discourages that kind of freedom. The essence of an Italian vacation is a feeling of being welcomed into a large, slightly chaotic family. New, rigid policies are the antithesis of this feeling. Spain, the land of sunshine, siestas, and fiestas. It's Europe's playground, a place people go to unwind. The Spanish tourism model is built on being easy, affordable, and accessible. So what happens when you introduce a whole lot of new documentation and restrictions? The most direct impact for travelers would be the introduction of new bureaucratic hurdles. Spain, as part of the Schengen area, has long been easy to access. But a national push for deportations would inevitably lead to a tightening of the front door. This creates a particular problem for the millions of tourists who visit Spain on package holidays. Beyond the paperwork, travelers could face more restrictions on the ground. The relaxed, carefree atmosphere that defines a Spanish holiday could be replaced by a sense of being constantly monitored. The siesta might become a permanent, economically forced slumber. The Netherlands, famous for its tulips, windmills, and a famously liberal society. In recent years, cities like Amsterdam have become hubs for digital nomads. But mass deportation policies could slam the door on this modern way of life. The problem for digital nomads is that they don't fit into traditional immigration categories. New regulations could specifically target people suspected of working on a tourist visa. The flexibility that made the Netherlands attractive could become a liability. This could lead to the Netherlands introducing stricter, more defined visas for remote workers. The very people who bring new skills and spend money in the local economy could be priced out. Amsterdam's reputation as a modern, innovative, and open city could be damaged. The welcome mat for the future of work might be pulled away. Finally, let's talk about Sweden. For many, Sweden represents the pinnacle of safety, organization, and social progress. But a political shift towards mass deportations could change the very fabric of that safety. The first impact would be on travel planning. Sweden's reputation for efficiency means that travelers expect a smooth experience. But new complex visa rules or unpredictable border checks would shatter that expectation. This also affects the perception of safety. While these policies are aimed at increasing national security, they can have the paradoxical effect of making travelers feel less safe. The serene, peaceful image of Sweden could be replaced by one of a country on high alert. For a country that promotes nature and outdoor activities, this creates a strange conflict. The calm, predictable Swedish experience might become a thing of the past. So, after hopping across 10 different countries, what's the big picture? It's clear that the world of travel as we know it is standing on shaky ground. These potential policies aren't just headlines, they represent a fundamental shift in how we interact. The freedom to move, to explore, to connect with other cultures, it's something many of us have taken for granted. But as national priorities shift towards security and control, that freedom is being called into question. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about being aware. It's about understanding that the world is a dynamic, ever-changing place. As travelers, we need to be more prepared, more patient, and more informed than ever before. But more than that, as global citizens, we need to think about what kind of world we want to live in. Thank you for watching.